and court begins in about an hour from now in President Trump's hush money trial. Tabloid publisher and longtime Trump ally David Pecker will return to that stand. Fireworks in the courtroom as both sides painted drastically different pictures of the former president. The prosecution portraying him as a master manipulator looking to sway the 2016 election. The defense laying out a busy businessman and those payments more or less an accounting error. Let's bring in renowned defense attorney Alan Dershowitz, who defended President Trump during his impeachment trial. He's also the author of the book called Get Trump. Alan, it's always good to have you on the show. Day one was yesterday. Opening statements are in the books. Which side do you think got off to a stronger start?
I've been doing this 60 years, and I don't understand what crime he's being charged with. They're putting on a witness today who says he was guilty of catch and kill, that is, getting people to buy a story and then not run it. Fine, that's not a crime. It's bad journalism. It's not a crime. They're going to put on another witness that he paid hush money. Terrible, but it's not a crime. I just don't get the crime. There's no evidence of any crime whatsoever. What the prosecution has tried to do is manufacture a crime. They took a misdemeanor, failure to accurately report expenses, which was barred by the statute of limitations. They try to resurrect it by claiming that the reason he committed this misdemeanor was also to commit another felony, but they couldn't charge him with the other felony, federal felony. This is just a sham. So how is the case going? You know, maybe the prosecution is going to be able to prove its case, but in the end, they won't prove a crime. There's no crime here. So it's such a hard case to follow because the jury doesn't have a role to play in deciding whether there's a crime. That's the judge who failed in his duty to dismiss this case. And now they're going to hear evidence. Do we believe Pecker? Do we believe McDougal? Do we believe Daniels? All irrelevant, because even if you believe every word every one of them says, there's just no crime. And then the real question of credibility.
And let's talk about that jury, Alan, because I know you've come forward to say the former president has drawn a bad jury, calling this too much of a New York Times TikTok jury for Trump to get a fair trial. What do you mean by that?
It's a typical New York jury. It's the kind of 12 people I would meet in an Upper West Side or Upper East Side or downtown restaurant. It's probably not a bad jury based on the veneer on the jury pool in New York, but New York's a terrible jury pool. 85% of New Yorkers will do anything to prevent Donald Trump from being president, including convicting him of a crime that doesn't exist. So although his lawyers probably did the best they could with a jury of Manhattanites, you can't get a fair trial in front of a jury of Manhattanites. Maybe you'll get one juror to hold out, but that's not the fair trial. This case should have been tried in Staten Island, Rockland County, somewhere where there's a chance of finding jurors. Now, all the jurors said they can be fair. Of course, if you want to be on a jury, you're going to say you're fair, but this is an outrageously biased jury pool from which these 12 jurors and 6 alternates were selected. So there's no crime. It's an unfair jury pool. It's an unfair judge. This is one of the worst cases I've ever seen presented to an American court.
With that, with you saying that the jury is already, straight out of the gate, not impartial, with you also saying that you don't know what crime, he's being accused of, what's your message to Americans and voters ahead of whatever the final verdict will eventually be in 6 to 8 weeks?
What's happening to Donald Trump could happen to you, to your friends, to your relatives. I'm not a Trump supporter politically. I only care about the Constitution. My message to Americans, it doesn't matter whether you're for Trump or against him, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you ought to be strongly opposed to this kind of jerry-rigged, concocted case being brought in front of a skewed jury in order to interfere with the election. The goal is to get a down and dirty conviction before the election, knowing that it's likely to be reversed on appeal. The former Attorney General of the United States said as much the other day on television. And it's just a total distortion of the criminal justice system. Now, if you watch CNN, you think this is the strongest case since the Lincoln assassination, if the Lincoln assassination had been on video. But it's the weakest case ever. The New York Times, CNN, MSNBC all want to see a conviction. And so they're distorting the case and misleading the American public.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.